All right, so this is the part 2 of Lauren's episode. So we didn't really get a chance in part 1 to describe the painting that you had most recently done, and so we're going to give you this, opportunity to describe everything that's on the painting, and we're also going to have the listeners, they're going to be able to see the painting stuff. So
Okay.
Take it away.
let's do this.
All right, thanks.
So here, the first thing I noticed is the unicorn horn, and I know you mentioned that in the
Yes.
part 1 episode, but you want to start there? You want to start at why you chose to put a unicorn?
Yes. Okay, so like I said before, I'm almost 37, and I have just come to the realization that I am different than everyone else, and I'm going to have to be okay with that. It's just who I am, and most of the time, I'm happy with my choices. They're well thought out choices, but they happen to be different than everybody else's. And so I feel that as a mother, there's a lot of comparison going on, and so I feel that, and so I decided it's just time to be good with that. And so actually our church was having an art show, and the theme was my story. And so this is what I created for my story. And then I started getting really nervous about showing it because it is very, very personal. And then I realized that it's all a bunch of pictures and it's very coded, and nobody knows what it means until they ask. And if they choose to ask, if they take the time to ask, I should take the time to explain.
Well, can I just say real quick that
Yeah.
when I look at your face in this painting, I just see confidence, and I think that when you painted it, I think you what's the word? Blended over your confidence into this, and you
Yeah.
were like, you kind of took some of your confidence and was like, yeah, I'm confident.
Thank you.
I am confident.
That's what I was going for. I had to pick the
you see
facial
in your
expression.
smile,
Yeah.
like in your eyes, just the way
Yeah.
you kind of have a little slight smile.
Yeah.
So
That is
keep
what I
going.
was
My
going
bad,
for.
my
Thank
bad.
you. No, that's good. Thank you. So I'll go through it. I'll go through it fast. There's a halo behind my hair because I've had long hair most of my life, and as a child, it was like the thing that got me attention. And so I guess there's just a lot of attention put on my hair. And now I'm thankful to have hair, but I don't fix it much. Product of being a mother and I just like wild hair. I do. And so mine's messy most of the time, and that goes with my personality, but I still have not ever forgotten the emphasis that everyone else has put on my hair. And so, when people say it's just hair, it's not to me. I might not fix it, but it's not. It's more than just hair. So that's what that's for. We'll just go.
So why is there a fork in your shoulder?
We'll just go around like that. There's a fork in my shoulder because I have two things. A lot of these things have two symbolisms, I guess, representations. You've heard that the term "stick a fork in me, I'm done." That's mostly what that's for, because I'm done pretending, I'm done trying to fit in, I'm done trying to cover up the things that make me different. I'm just going to own them because I don't have another choice. I also have a lot of, I spend a lot of time trying to make healthy food for our family. I think healthy food is going to be the basis for a healthy life, and what you put in your body is important. Not that I make all the right choices all the time, but I spend a lot of time trying to make the right food for our family. And I have a lot of food sensitivities as well. And my family does too. We all have different ones. And so cooking for us, if other people cook for us, it is very complicated. So it's a serious job. And I think I'm good at it because I do it every day. Spend a lot of time on that. Under that is a yellow flower. I just think it's pretty. I love yellow. I love that color of yellow. And it represents beauty and owning being beautiful, even though I don't look like everybody else necessarily. You wouldn't find me on the front of a magazine, but I think I'm a beautiful woman. And I didn't tell him yet, but that part, that everything on my painting kind of represents my husband as well, because he kind of has helped me find the confidence after we met. He helped me become this person, and he supports everything about me. He's helped me be okay with who I am because he thinks who I am is pretty cool. I think it's funny. I've never been cool, but I am at this house, I guess. So starting with the yellow flower, that I kind of direct I guess in my thoughts, I direct him to that, associate him with the flowers there. He gives me the beauty. The Band-Aids there are trying to futilely hold the crack together. And further down, I've sewn the crack together, and that represents my love for sewing. There's also a thread over there to the right. Let's see.
And the soap was to represent, I think you told me once, your Christianity, right?
Yes, soap is part of the Christianity. So God, throughout the before He sent Jesus to cover our sins, the Israelites had to do a lot of sacrificing, and there's a lot of rules about cleanliness. And if you touched a dead body, you were unclean. If a woman was on her cycle, she was unclean. And there were a lot of rules for all these things. And God knew what He was doing, and He is supreme and knows everything. And so I'm not going to say that He wasn't right. He was right. I'm just glad I don't have to do that. So the soap is to represent that feeling that carries over from sin, doing something wrong, and then feeling that guilt, that uncleanliness because of that. But then at the same time, I'm washed clean by Jesus. And so I don't have to deal with that. I take it on, and then every time I forget. I don't have to feel guilty for this thing I've done wrong. I just ask for forgiveness, and it's washed away. So that's the soap. I guess that one's a really big one.
Yeah, that is. And then those kind of look like there's like stones or something under the soap, or
yes, those
right under the Band-Aid too.
Those are my thought bubbles. So when I was working, like I said in my part 1 of my episode, I worked with some teenage girls to figure out how they felt and express that. And so what I was drawing and painting at the same time that they were, I put that in all of my paintings. Those are my thought bubbles. And I'm thinking about something all the time, and not just one thing. It's 32 things. And sometimes my thoughts are positive, sometimes they're negative, but they're always crowding the other thoughts. And so that's what those are for.
I actually thought that those were just soap bubbles at first.
The white ones are soap bubbles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The colorful ones are my thought bubbles.
Oh, so the colorful ones that are all over the entire painting.
Yeah.
Right? They're
Yes.
they're all throughout. Okay,
Yes.
gotcha now.
I have so many different questions. So,
Go ahead.
so the brain coming out of the box, we can kind of jump around a little
Yeah.
bit. The brain coming out of the box, what does that mean?
That's literally thinking outside the box.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
I should have thought of that.
Kind of represents your unconventional lifestyle.
Yes. And the fact that it's floating above, it's like, I just can't even, I can't try anymore it just is. That is, my brain naturally thinks of something opposite of what everybody else thought of being the right thing to do first. So it is something I deal with.
And I could be wrong, but does the megaphone represent like you trying to get your point and artistic points out, or?
It's sort of, it's also like, apparently, like when y'all were asking me to talk about essential oils, and I said, I don't know that I know enough about them. And then I just started, I guess I know some stuff. And so basically that's to represent the fact that when I have spent a lot of time learning about something, and if I think it's beneficial for me or for my family, I will tell somebody else
be
about
vocal about it.
Yeah. If I believe that if I've learned something that could help somebody else, I am going to tell them, not push it down their throat, but if I have knowledge that could help somebody, I really want them to have it.
You're gonna spread that message.
I care about the benefit to humanity, I guess.
The positive outcomes.
Right. The drum under that is for, that saying, march to the beat of your own drum. Yeah.
Ah, cool.
Yeah. So that's what that is. And I made it yellow because I like yellow. That particular mustard yellow means a lot to me.
What does 1213 mean?
That is the address for the house I lived in as a child. So that represents my childhood, my good, calm, loving childhood that my parents gave me. And I tried to write that in childlike handwriting, but on a sign like this street sign
yeah.
color. Yeah. So that represents my childhood, I guess. Mm. There's random leaves all over the place. Those are for growth. Because I feel like I'm always trying to grow, always trying to get better and be better. My heart in the middle, that is my heart, and I put the cross in the middle because Jesus is he is number one, and so I put the cross in the middle, and then around that is ice cream, because again, food, and also, since I'm being full disclosure here, I've had in my past, I've had trouble with self-control with food. I think a lot of women have trouble with food because it either makes you fat or skinny, and it turns out men don't care in the first place. So that's something that I've been able to work on and care a lot less about. It's
That makes sense.
the ice cream is less about ice cream and more about how I feel about myself, my body.
Right.
To the left of that, under that is the number 156. That's my highest recorded weight. That's what I weighed in college. And I wrote that on there because it's not your weight that makes you cute. If I weighed if the number on the scale said 300 pounds and I look like I do now, what does it matter what the scale says? So that's just kind of an in-your-face. Women don't tell their weight, but I do, because what does it matter to you? Mm-hmm. It doesn't.
Right.
The scissors are partly for creativity, and also they're on top of the ice cream. That's to represent that cutting that feeling, cutting that tie to associating my body image and my self-worth with how I look. Yeah.
Are those ice cubes behind the scissors?
Sugar cubes.
Sure. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Kind of go along with it.
Yes, and also because I have a real food sensitivity to sugar. I can't handle it, and so that makes me different than a lot of people. There's also, next to the apple, there's wheat. So my two big ones that I can't handle are sugar cane, and gluten. And to go to any social gathering, there is food made of those two things. Mm-hmm. And so I can't just go somewhere and look like everybody else. I stand out because I'm not eating what everyone else is eating. The syringe is is because I don't like doctors, as I said before. I have trouble with doctors, and I try to do things a natural way. We choose to not use shots as much as possible with our kids and stuff like that. So that's what that is. And I actually didn't put essential oils anywhere on there, but that's kind of represented with that as well. That's kind of takes care of that. There's a little house to the left of that, upper left. I really want a tiny house. And I realized that it's not that I want a tiny house. I just want to be able to successfully live in a smaller space. Mm-hmm. Last night, actually, I cut my wardrobe in half. And it feels really good to have a lot less in my closet. Turns out I only wear this one shirt I have on anyway because it's my favorite. And if I'm not wearing this one, it's because it's dirty and I'm wearing the black one that's exactly the same thing. So why did I have so much in my closet? Because I wasn't wearing it. So that's what that's for. It's to represent the goal to retire in a tiny house with my loving husband.
Maybe what you have in the syringe is essential oils.
That's it. Yeah, I like that.
So, like
shooting up essential.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that's not how you're supposed to use them. But
yeah, you don't inject essential oil, people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't be
that.
shooting up
Don't
lavender.
do that. Right.
So, we already know about the Facebook one. Are those mountains to the right of it?
Yes. Okay. So my children, in my head, they have symbols, and I can't get away with it. I can't get away from it. I think about it a lot. So my daughter, she's the mountains, and one day I'll explain this to her, but not today. So don't anybody tell her what I said. She can't handle it yet. So she's the mountains. To me, she is strong and unmovable, like mountains. She is strength. River, we named him River because of water. So there's to the bottom left of the syringe above the sugar cubes. That's water. That's his symbol to me, River, and that's to represent baptism and the living water that we get through Christ and being washed over by him and his blood. So it's a very biblical name without being a name you find in the Bible, although there are a lot of rivers mentioned in the Bible. And then, I'm not going to cry about this. Above the brain is a sun. And so I've been pregnant 3 times. The first time was a miscarriage. And for that baby, I've given the son because it was my first pregnancy. It was the first time that baby made me a mother. It's just the rest of the world didn't see that. So there's a song, everybody knows it, "You Are My Sunshine." I've never sang that to my kids, the ones that live on earth. I'm not sure that they've ever heard that song because I won't sing it because it's for that baby. So that's why that baby gets the sun. Ooh, I did it. And
did
then,
it.
I did. And then inside that sun is, I made it look like a clock. That's the time that River was born. And River was home birth. And so him being born at home, naturally, no drugs, water birth, the way that we wanted, the way that we planned was extremely healing for me because, this is so personal. The first pregnancy, what's the delicate way to say this? Was finalized at home. Does that make sense? I'm trying not to say anything weird and gross. But that happened at home. Basically, I didn't want to have surgery, and so I took an herb to make my body realize that I had already miscarried. Under the care of my doctor, she said that was fine, and so then I labored at home, and didn't get a baby. So with River, I labored at home and got our son, and so that time 12:43 is inside the symbol for the first baby because not that I'm over it, but it was a really important part of my life and my marriage with my husband, and was very healing, very, very healing time for us.
12:43.
12:43
was the time of the
River's birth, right?
Yeah. And
No.
middle of the day, bright sunshine,
That was River's birth.
yeah,
Wow, that's awesome.
yeah. It was really cool.
So if you were 2 questions.
Mm-hmm.
If you were into tattoos, would you get all those tattooed on that part, like starting at your shoulder? Would you do that?
No, but you're not the first to say that it looks
Oh.
looks tattoos. It's like those are soul tattoos, I guess. I actually have kind of an
I
ink.
see what you mean.
I have an ink phobia.
These
I can
are-
never get a tattoo.
These are your tattoos that you don't need inked and permanently marked.
Right.
They're already permanently marked in your
they're
brain.
inside.
And so my second question was, which one did you draw first? Like, how did you put dimensions
heart.
in that? The heart?
Started with the heart.
So you used a lot of like, what did you use? Like colored pencils or, I mean, what?
I guess I use the wood because I love wood. I love wood grain, so I wanted that to show. And I started with pencil, just to sketch it out, and then I went over that with a brown color pencil, and then I hit some of the color pencil with black to make it give it more of a wood burn quality without actually wood burning, because I don't have very good control with wood burning. I just like the way it looks. And then once I had that drawn, I could just paint it in like a coloring book. And so that's what I
Well,
did.
I think it's really impressive. And I
Thank
think
you.
that you should. Are you going to try to like draw something this meaningful like once a year, or
Okay.
something that's this meaningful?
I have to back up, because if anybody out there is like me, they're going to say, you didn't talk about the apple. So I have to say what that means, and then I'll answer your question.
Okay.
The apple is for teachers, because we're going to homeschool, so you give your teacher an apple. So that's to represent the fact that I'm going to be a teacher.
You're going to be a teacher. Did we
The
talk about the yarn?
yarn.
That's thread.
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 Yeah, the
I
thread.
mean, six, so.
Yarn.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, and there's a gold paintbrush above that, and I made it gold because painting, as I talked about before, can save people, basically save people in their minds. And then there's little red dots at the bottom. Those are different than the thought bubbles. Those are for my struggle as a teenager with acne, because all teenagers have it, but it really took over my life and my thought processes and the way I felt about myself. So, that's all of it. Yeah, that's it. So
Yeah.
what did you ask me?
What did I ask?
Oh, if I'm going to paint something meaningful once a year.
So, like,
the next painting that I want to do is using the same, actually have the wood, because my dear husband got me several pieces when he went to get that wood for me. I
Nice.
got to stay home and he went and got several pieces of wood. So I have another one exactly that size, made of, cut from the same piece, so it'll have some wood grain to it too. And I'll use the same, I guess the 3/4 view of my face, probably the same facial expression, and probably with my hair down. I'm like describing the thing I haven't painted. I have to actually do it. And then I'm going to make it look like one of those, the butcher charts, the cuts of meat.
oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to basically dissect my body, and then right in there, instead of, like on butcher charts, they'll say, I don't eat beef. I don't know what it says.
Like ribs and
Yeah. Instead of that, it will say in that type of font that you would normally find on that, but it'll say probably what society thinks about those parts of either those parts of women, or I'll probably make it more personal and like how society has made me feel about that part of my body, how I have let society make me feel about that part
I
of my
think
body.
that you should do art conventions and art galleries and put your art up.
I would do it.
I think you should.
Clearly, I like talking about it too. So
Yeah, well, I think you should.
thanks, Riley.
So keep doing that. I think that every time that you do a painting like this, I want you to come on here and talk about it,
Okay.
because everything that you put into your art is meaningful, and it teaches lessons, and it helps people cope with things. And I think that, I hope that at least one person that listens to this applies these techniques in their life, and
I hope so too.
painting, and and just at least tries it.
Yeah.
Thank you,
So,
Lauren.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I think it's awesome.
Appreciate it.
Cool.
A new world hangs outside the window, beautiful and strange.